Good morning, everybody. Mike Roybal here with IT Colorado, coming to you on this Tuesday morning to talk a little bit about outdated systems and the risks that they bring to your company. So, first of all, this problem is putting a lot of construction and manufacturing companies at serious risk. And we see it all the time. We've walked into production floors and they're still running on Windows 7. Sometimes it's Windows XP, or there's a construction office that's relying on software that's 10 or 15 years old to manage bids and timelines. There's field equipment that is dependent on firmware that has been updated since the time that they installed the hardware. And these systems, unfortunately, are very critical to daily operations. I've seen them break, and when they break, it's really hard to get some replacement hardware. They haven't seen a security patch in 10, sometimes 15 years because they stopped providing patches for those operating systems a long time ago. So it's not really about how old the technology is, but it's really about how deeply embedded this old technology is. And the older it is, the more vital that it tends to be. So, it's the machine that still runs the assembly line, or it's taking very important measurements. And then the database that holds those historical job site records, they don't even have a proper way to back them up. The server that nobody wants to touch because it just works. So just think about when the foundation of your operation is built on unsupported technology, your risk compounds with every passing day. So here's the reality. These legacy systems, they are a hacker's dream. And it's not because that they're easy to find. It's because that they're easy to exploit. And when the software and the hardware go out of support, the manufacturers, they stop releasing these updates. And that means that there's no new patches for new vulnerabilities, which, as we know, come out and happen all the time. Every new flaw that gets discovered, it becomes a permanent hole in your defenses. And these attackers, they know exactly where to look. Even worse, these systems are often left running behind some very weak and old firewalls or outdated antivirus. They're not segmented from the network, and they often use credentials that you can go Google on the internet and look for the default login stuff. These things haven't been changed in years, and it all takes just one compromised laptop or one phishing click to give a hacker access to your entire infrastructure. In cybersecurity circles, we like to call it low-hanging fruit. And to hackers, it's just efficient business. So these legacy systems often lack basic security features that we now take for granted, meaning modern authentication types or encrypted traffic, centralized management. They can't integrate with some of the newer security tools, and they're often invisible to other monitoring platforms. So in a modern security setup, your tools are working together. Your firewall can see what your antivirus detects. Your monitoring platform, it can correlate alerts across different endpoints. But with legacy systems, you lose that synergy. You lose the visibility into monitoring those devices properly. And so when you can't see what's happening, you really can't respond to the problems. And these threat actors, they thrive in that kind of blind spot. They can sit there and work as long as they want without being noticed. So when we talk about construction and manufacturing, the impact of a breach, it isn't just IT downtime. These work crews, they can't access schedules. Supervisors can't submit field reports. Plant operators, they can't access line controls. And then there's supply chain delays or compliance violations. Or maybe you're breaching an SLA with a customer. Clients will start losing trust. And then if there's ransomware involved, everything stops. Machines don't even run. The files are locked, project deadlines, they go out the window. And that's before you factor in whatever it's going to cost you to disclose the breach, the legal liabilities, any long-term damage to your reputation. These aren't all just theoretical risks. They're happening to companies just like yours in the manufacturing and construction businesses. So why do so many companies hang on to these old systems? There's a couple different reasons. One, replacing them is hard. There's the risk of downtime. There's obviously the cost. And sometimes there's compatibility issues with equipment or with other partners. So some of these systems are proprietary or they're custom built. Others are tied to older machines that can't run newer software. So it feels safer to just leave it alone and, let revenue keep flowing than to risk breaking something that's working. It's really a very false sense of security, and it keeps your company stuck. What used to be a cost saving measure, it has become a liability. So you don't have to rip everything out tomorrow. You just need to start with a plan. You need to start with the cybersecurity risk assessment. Identify the things that are outdated or that are unsupported or that are exposed. Understand how these systems are interacting with the rest of your network and find out what can be safely isolated, what can be secured, and what absolutely needs to be replaced. From there, you build a roadmap. So tackle the most critical gaps first and secure what you can while the longer term transitions. And this isn't about panic, it's about progress, but these problems are real and they need to be brought to your attention. So some systems might need to be replaced, and that's okay. Others can be segmented off from your network. Put a firewall or some limiting delimiters in between that and the rest of your network so that only essential traffic and functions and monitoring software can get through. You can wrap older systems into modern protections like firewalls and access controls and some types of intrusion detection. And your people, they matter just as much. Train your teams to recognize phishing attempts. Put policies in place for handling old software and make sure that everyone knows the risks and the process for reporting these concerns. So it's about being intentional with your risk. It's not about avoiding it. It's not about ignoring it. It's about managing it. So we do help small and mid-sized businesses. We really try to have a focus on CPAs and contractors and manufacturers because they have some very critical things that need to be monitored more closely than some other industries. So we navigate these exact issues with these type of clients. If you're ready to get ahead of the risk, it all starts with the conversation, a conversation that doesn't cost you any money, might cost you 10 to 15 minutes of your time. So I invite you to book a call with me. My name is Michael. I'm the owner of IT Colorado, and you can go to itcolorado.com/book a call, or just go to the website. There's actually a link right there, and we'll help you figure out what's safe to keep, what needs to go, and how to protect your operations in the meantime. In today's world, doing nothing, unfortunately, is one of the most expensive decisions of all. So I thank you again for joining me. Thank you for giving me 10, 15 minutes of your time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to some of you. Have a great one.